What happens when you completely run out of ideas? Well, you suck it all into a black hole and start over. I wanted to do that on this podcast, but Matt said that somehow human beings can't survive getting sucked into a singularity. So welcome to this very Fortnite-y regular bowl of dude soup. You gotta go negative on Fortnite and you gotta go negative on Matt. That's the one thing the audience
people
loves.
love Matt. No, I love Matt though. Or they love to rag Matt.
Okay, this podcast is no longer about Fortnite. It's now about how everyone hates Matt.
We're
all just pointing at someone off screen.
Least popular member of Funhaus.
Matt Peak is in there. Everyone say one good thing about Matt Peak.
Oh, gosh.
One. My one thing is it makes it really difficult to only say one good thing.
He's environmentally responsible.
Perhaps too much, yes. He is so caring that he lets me frequently take advantage of him.
He's willing to hold me with his shirt off.
Oh,
all right.
He hasn't done it, but I know he's willing.
It's very warm.
If I were to ask, he'd do it.
It'd be like the computer in Mega Man 3. His hair would like grow over you and then start like pulling on your skin and stuff, but you'd like it. It'd be the good version of
Just
that.
like that.
You say Mega Man 3?
Did I say that? Superman 3.
Okay.
We know where his priorities
I was
lie.
like, that must have been the secret ending that I didn't get to.
I ran out of I was watching Superman 3 at a friend's house, and when that happened, I was like,
It's
this is
terrorizing.
terrifying. And I got up and I ran out of the house and ran all the way home.
And then played Mega Man 3. The better 3, if you think about it. We're talking about Fortnite Chapter 2 briefly today, and then we're going to go on to some other things. One thing I find interesting is how Fortnite frequently finds a way to outdo itself. The escalation problems, like Dragon Ball Z. Goku just blew up a planet. Well, what's next? We're going to find that out today. Yeah, that's right. We're going to brainstorm and come up with Fortnite's next big seasonal event because they got to outdo themselves. I'm Lawrence. I'm your host. I'm joined by Elise, James, and Adam.
Hello.
Thank you all for bringing our minds together and outthinking that dastardly Tim Sweeney and all of his dumb Fortnite ideas. All of these hot ideas are sponsored by 3 very fine sponsors: Mint Mobile, Upstart, and Squarespace. You can cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/dude. You can go to upstart.com/dude to find out how low your Upstart rate is. And if you go to squarespace.com/dudesoup, you can save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. I was trying to get rooster.tv, but that costs like over $1,000. So if only there were a company that could afford something like that.
It'll never make it back.
And that brings it back to Epic, the company we're talking about today.
Thank you. Yes, we are. So yes, Jim Cameron's Fortnites. It's 2. Fortnite 2. Did you ever think they would do it? Except they put a chapter there.
It's Chapter 2, yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of, I guess, part of me was kind of disappointed that we were in this age of service games because there's really no sequels. They just get patched forever.
Sure.
I think this is the closest we get to like a reboot or a restart or a sequel.
I've only like dabbled in the Fortnite world. Is there a story or lore or anything
so
now?
There's a bunch of survivors, and there's a storm that comes in, and it drops not zombies, but undead creatures, and you have to build forts and cover them with traps to keep to fight off waves and waves
Save
of
the
the
world,
creatures and
okay.
save the world one
What's the
second
story
at
in
a time.
Battle Royale mode?
I'm sorry, what mode? Is that new?
It's a new mode.
Fortnite.
That's
We're
for
talking about
Chapter 2?
Fortnite, at least.
Oh,
Fortnite.
okay, pardon me.
Where you build
mistake.
forts.
I don't know what that story. I'm only familiar with the Fortnite story.
I guess this was probably the most climactic thing they could do to introduce a new chapter.
100%. I mean,
Take the game down.
It's wild because shutting the game down for any amount of time costs them material money. They make so much money per day, so you can put it up on a chalkboard how much money this cost. There was an interesting Twitter thread by Matthew Ball who let me see if we don't have the feed. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Basically, like did some preliminary analysis about how smart the way that Epic ran all of this was. Basically, them updating to Chapter 2 necessitated downtime in the game. Typically, the way that happens in any online game is that you just warn people, you put up a tweet, blog post, whatever, saying, oh, we're going to have some downtime, server's going to be down. And you just let everyone know, and then they try to log in, and your customer support is flooded with tickets. Instead, Epic made it an event. They put a story around it, a wrapper. Typically, also, downtime is done like off-peak hours in the middle of the night. This was done in the middle of a Sunday, so they found a way to turn necessary downtime and updating into an event that also drew even more attention to their game, getting headlines on CNN and New York Times and podcasts on the Funhaus YouTube channel. I know, they made it all the way to the top. So, man, it's ridiculous that they bought themselves 2 days of downtime to update an ongoing service game, but also had people staring at a black hole on Twitch and on Twitter. And
Yeah, because did you see much outcry or dissent?
No, people
about
loved it.
Yeah.
Well, there was like a pervasive sense of theming too. Their Twitter account, they hid all of their tweets, and it was just the one pinned tweet of the black hole. They even have a public-facing Trello board where they show all of the things they're working on. They wiped all that away, and it was a black hole too. The Trello board became a black hole. So the coordination and like the complete lack of any communication during that event, I think, created an awesome sense of mystery. That's they ever since Drake and Ninja. Every other company has tried to figure out how to do these events that Fortnite seems to continually do.
Well, think about where this came from, which like the other equivalent of this from maybe if you even go back 10 years ago is announcement of a new game, billboards, marketing, commercials, E3 trailer for new game, all kinds of stuff.
Which are months leading up to.
Shipping out of boxes and boxes of discs with the new game on it. And then you get the new game, you put it in your console. It still has to do an update anyway. And then you try and log in and the servers are flooded because they've never been able to test something like this truly to this scale before. And then so everyone's pissed off and upset. And then ultimately a week passes and then it's like, okay, well now the new game's out there. It's like if you think about this as Fortnite 2, which it I guess kind of could be, that's hugely impressive. It probably, for what it cost them in that 2 days of downtime, probably saved them. Someone made a PowerPoint that was like, this is what will happen if we try and release a new game. This is how much it will cost us to do that and how much we'll make as a result. What if, and then pose this other scenario, we just remove this income for 2 days. That's all the time we need to change and to drop in as much as we need to make the game obviously new and different. And then we just keep rolling.
Yeah, I can imagine if you're a streamer and you stream exclusively Fortnite, that's 2 days where like,
oh, I didn't even think about that.
you're not making bank.
Gosh, that's true. Because the way that they did it also gave a little momentum to all the people who make content around it.
Aren't they all going to just chatting anyway? But
I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And so they're like, here's a black hole. Talk about it.
Well, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But it's still something to talk about, And I think in that vein too, they also didn't release patch notes for Chapter 2. Usually they do.
Oh, yeah.
So they get a discrete list of everything that's new. This is just like, we updated it. Go explore. So it feeds the YouTube Twitch cycle so much.
I'm wondering if this is just one giant like F up. Like it wasn't supposed to do this and they mess it up and they're just doing an oops all berries.
Release the black hole.
Yeah. Or they're
There's
like
a big lever that's
someone slaved away putting all these patch notes together and then like they got deleted or something. And someone went send oops,
janitor
and it was
tripped over
they,
a cable.
Yeah, they
And
hit
that's what fires a black hole into the world.
Well, no, they said, well, what can we do to make up for this? They're like, we could try this black hole thing that we're saving for another event, and then they turned it into this whole thing of like, yes, we meant to do all of this.
we are brilliant.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but did they gave some of the big streamers notice there was a big event happening, right?
It did leak out, but I don't know exactly how. So yeah, I didn't follow, I knew that there were rumblings that something was coming.
Yeah.
And that could have been intentional leaks. It could have been unintentional leaks.
Because they were all online streaming, like basically when it happened.
Yeah, there was some heads up. I think that day people knew that something was going down. But yeah, that part of the narrative, sadly, I'm a little fuzzy on because I think I was just grinding away in Destiny. And I was like, no, thank you. I'll take my other clicking heads until I die game.
This thing that's now free to play for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's great. Really, like there are things to be mad about in gaming right now. And I say this a lot, but God, as the years go by, it gets more and more true. There's so many good things right now and so many good things coming up. So exciting.
I was just wondering, we were talking about this at lunch the other day, but like with Destiny, not that we have to talk about Destiny, but I thought it was really interesting. Where like it's now free to play and they have a lot of stuff. It's sort of just really throwing some in the deep end, but they tried to mitigate that as much as possible and be like, no, it's fine. Everything starts at 750. You're like, what's 750? Don't worry about the number. It's a big number. But like, imagine like playing a sport or something and they're like, you start at 750. What, is that a good number? No, you're all at 750.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
So why don't you make it 0?
It's like a credit score.
Oh, it's because people have been playing football for 4 years.
But it can't go below 750.
Yeah.
So
because the people that work to get to 750 would be like, what the
you
fuck?
can't invalidate their accomplishment.
it reminds me of like
I feel pretty invalidated, to be honest with you.
So like Call of Duty, was it the first Modern Warfare, or maybe I guess when they did the online, it was like you got 5 points per kill, right? And you're like 10 and like that, and then they started like, we'll add a 0 at the end. You get 50, 500. It's just like
numerology is fascinating.
It's just giant numbers that mean nothing. Where it's like,
but 1,000 would be too much.
Yeah.
Someone figured out.
So it's funny because as a man of culture, I play Final Fantasy 14, which is a game with huge numbers, big numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a problem because it became hard to visually parse. So what they did is they basically just made the last 3 digits really small.
Okay.
So it's still 15,000. It's just a big 15 and then just a tiny 000.
Nice.
So it's like numerology gets ridiculous when it comes to games because obviously it's all made up and none of it matters.
Yeah.
But people like seeing certain numbers and they like seeing bigger numbers until they're too big.
I just thought it was always funny. That's like 750. Is that a good number? No, it's 0.
You guys remember if you get 7,777 hit points in Final Fantasy VII, then you do that damage every single time, and you're like, oh shit, that's so much damage.
It's a lot of damage.
But then you play Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy 13, and it's like you start the game, you fight the first boss, you don't even hit attack, you just tell it to attack, and then lightning does like 55,000, 55,000, 57,000. Hit.
awesome.
It's like when we played D&D. It was like, you do 1 damage. Like, oh, that's not good. No, that's great.
Yeah.
No,
1
yeah.
is good.
He's almost dead.
Yeah. He only has 10 health points. They're
Yeah.
like, but I have 15.
This is such a weird aside. I remember going from Final Fantasy, big numbers, huge numbers, to playing Baldur's Gate on PC, where I rolled a wizard and I had 8 hit points. I was like, wow, that's not many. And I got in one fight, a guy stabbed me for 6. And I was like, well, okay. Because it was supposed to be like a rule set that mimicked real life. And if you're a wizard wearing a little robe and have a book and a knife goes into you, you're pretty close to the edge.
How many hit points do you think we at the table have?
I've thought a lot about that. Well, I mean, it's a scaling number. 'Cause
Elise.
I think you have
Elise
to
is
base
weird.
it-
Elise has like poison.
what you could say.
If you just look at Elise, no matter what her hit points is, just watch her long enough, and then you'll see a -1 tick, just like for her existing.
What were you gonna say?
Oh no, well, you need to establish what damage numbers are before you can infer hit points. So
Yeah.
True.
at least if you got hit by a car, how many hit points would you lose?
All of them, right?
I almost got hit by a
Depends.
car.
Well,
earlier
it's
today.
tough because there's a likelihood that I would get hit by the car and then dragged by.
But then they would also
That's
sue
damage
you.
over time.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
tough.
I would somehow be held responsible.
your corpse
for
would be-
the hitting.
just drop
Man,
a
this
subpoena
is
on your
tough.
corpse.
Like, I guess we have to figure out how we would all realistically like.
Well, you can take the world into account, right? So, like, this isn't a world where someone's going to hit us with a lightning bolt. So you don't have to
Is there-
worry
is
about
there
that.
max
Most
hit
likely,
points?
someone's going to either punch us or in America shoot us.
It'd be easier if we
So-
establish like what the max hit point a human being could have
Possibly?
is.
Oh, I don't know that you could ever establish a max.
I
Let's
guess
say
It's always
Rasputin.
I mean, let's say out of 100.
And when
gonna
you're,
be a
and when
hardier
you're at
human.
0, are you dead or are you like just knocked down until someone picks you up?
Oh, unconscious. So when you sleep,
Okay.
your hit points go to 0. I don't know.
Yeah, because like
Your heart's still beating.
you
though.
could take a punch, right? I could probably take infinite punches to my arm.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
going to
thought a
go
lot about
down.
that.
Well, that's because
I mean,
you have
eventually go into
regen.
shock.
That's because
Yeah.
you have regen. All human
right.
beings have regen.
Okay.
So you are
A little
doing.
frog
You're
to the ground,
doing.
That's like 0.2 HP.
You're
but it's
doing
always coming back.
-1, -1, but then it goes +5, -1, -1, +5. So then you're net positive.
James is absolutely right. It's weird because like having done like boxing and MMA and stuff, like there are certain hits you can take all day,
Yeah,
and that's well, you shouldn't because it actually damages you over time.
yeah.
The goal of being a boxer is to be a boxer for longer than a year. But anyway, there are certain hits too that also like you can feel your hit point bar going down.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are the rough ones when it actually like rattles and your body has that freak out of like
Well,
I just died a little bit.
When a boxer gets hit in the stomach and then he goes like that and then just takes a knee, like, I always think that's
like,
really
good?
funny. Like, no, that was 0. I'm at
I
0.
wager I get hit by a clay pot. I'm dead.
Really?
fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I would
like
say
body shot.
I have a
or-
soft skull.
if we're going based off the wizard at 8, fragile old wizard,
Uh-huh.
I would say we're all probably stronger than a fragile old wizard.
a D&D wizard. Yeah, level 1.
We're like,
Probably.
yeah, we were Baldur's Gate example.
I would say that that's the equivalent of like a 22-year-old who's done no sport in their life, and then you just give them a dictionary and send them into the world.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to go well.
It's
So,
weird.
I would put us all between 15 and 25.
It's weird how you can get injured. Like one of my friends, she
Nodding sagely.
she got a concussion once when we were playing volleyball just because she hit her head on the sand.
That's,
But she landed hard.
She landed hard
If you whip it in there.
Yeah.
and she whipped it, but like when you think about it, you're like, well, she just hit the sand.
It's tough. Yeah,
But
you
that's
think
those are
sand's soft,
status
but
effects,
not
though.
always.
That's different than damage. That's a status effect. You can be cast with confusion, but it doesn't necessarily affect your hit points.
Does stamina affect your hit points too?
Yes.
Because
if stamina goes low enough, then
Yeah.
you start losing hit
I,
points.
I would say that's probably one of the more realistic things in games where you have a stamina bar, except like a Dark Souls thing where if you just stay still, it refills all the way up. In reality, it would go like it'd keep going back because you'd be like, okay, hold, I got no. Hold on.
Yeah.
So
Just collapse in the ground, heaving.
It's almost as though games were designed to mimic natural human perception of life.
Well, what's weird to me is, and this is utterly simplistic, but a lot of RPGs are they're just like turn-based D&D, but taking the turns away.
Oh, yeah.
Or the turns are so fast that it's frames instead of turns. But yeah, it's all meant to mimic real life. But it's gone through a really weird process of being incorporated into a computer and then re-expressed back out. And then all RPGs are just essentially the dungeon master tries to pre-program as much stuff. So it's basically doing a pen and paper thing, except the dungeon master is just a stack of if-then statements. Do you go in the dungeon? No. Okay, use this stack of paper. All right, now what? But yeah, Fortnite, I don't know.
Let's see a dungeon master try getting away with throwing a black hole down on your 4-year-long campaign that you've been playing with your bros every week.
Actually, that's a pretty good tactic, though. If you're done with it, fuck it, there's a black hole. We're just starting over.
I asked initially if there's a story because I watched the trailer, and it's like it's sort of weird where when games have lore and you're watching a trailer, you have no idea what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
So when a character is like touching the water and be like, what's going on here? And you're like, is someone to be like, it's 8-Ball Face, my favorite character.
So I was actually curious
made
about that. I wanted to, because I know there have been live events leading up to this. This is obviously the biggest and most cataclysmic, but I did look up a list of live events. There is a narrative implied among them, but maybe I'm looking at the wrong Wikipedia page because it sure doesn't really go into the weeds on it.
What are they?
In the universe, did something trigger the black hole?
We don't know yet.
Kind of. There was a
sin.
string. Yeah, it was actually
All your sin.
Oh, yeah?
masturbation.
Was Xanarkand inside of that black hole the whole
It
time?
was just a reflection of me
Yeah.
or something.
yeah, I remember.
I'm
How did that one guy go back and forth? He was in both realms.
I'm not real.
Yeah, what's he doing?
He couldn't go into the dream realm. Remember, he tried to go into that portal and almost whisked away, and that was the big
he's the one who
twist.
found Titus in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, in the past, when it goes into the future, then they're in the dream of the
Talk
faith.
about Fortnite.
Okay.
You nerds.
So yeah, I'll do my best to try to paraphrase the live events. It's possible that there is a narrative behind them that this web page does not encapsulate, but there was a meteor event in season 3 that hit the map, destroyed Tilted Towers.
All right, I remember that.
Not the Dusty Depot.
Yeah, the Dusty Depot became the Dusty Divot.
It is funny how they gave everything a Looney Tunes name and then they try and do serious stuff. And they're like, prepare gamers.
Wait, were you joking? The
Sloppy
Dusty Depot
Sewers
became
is
Dusty
going to get
Divot?
No,
burnt to a
that's
crisp.
very real.
So that's really cool that they have this fixed map and they have these events and it actually
It changes
changes the
parts of it.
Yeah, that's how
terrain.
they do
It's
the
really
updates.
neat.
It's great. I honestly think it is genius, and I love it.
It really is.
I just wish I played Fortnite or
we-
enjoyed it at all.
We talked a little bit about it I don't know if it's made into the episode or not, Lawrence, but on Inside Game we talked about how like League of Legends only has one map, and
Yeah.
they
They have a
tried
few others,
other
but-
maps, or like people and like
They have their ARAM map and stuff like that.
and like Counter-Strike, people just like the one map, and typically like people like the one map. I thought the Battle Royale thing sort of figured out in an interesting way. They go, all right, you get one map. And the map may change here and there, but it's so big you may not even notice. And if you do notice, it's actually, they made it interesting as opposed to people flipping out like, great, I have to relearn a whole new map. They add lore and like interesting tidbits to it.
Well, with a game with like a MOBA, the big catch is that you have to try and balance the characters into the giant paper rock scissors game that is. And then when you add a new character every single month, now you have a paper rock scissors game that has to be balanced across 70 characters. Smite has a new character announced. It's like, how many is that now? But so you have to manage that. But then the other constant is the map is also one of the things you have to balance with.
Yeah.
So if you change the map, like in a MOBA, now all those characters that can say leap over wall, like or are junglers or whatever, like now their meta changes entirely. The good thing about a battle royale is that everyone starts as a husk mannequin.
yeah.
You know, like 8-Ball Face is the same as, Sloppy Knight. They're all the same, and it's just a skin, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, there's so much randomness and volatility injected into the game that on a per player basis, it's really hard to see the differences that happens. Like in League of Legends, yeah, if a character hops over a wall that didn't used to be there and kills you, you die because of that change.
Yeah.
But in Fortnite, good God, you can go into a new area of the map And sure, that can have an effect, but it's down to what loot people get, when they find you, how they find you, what you're doing when they find you. There's so many factors that make it so hard to pin it down to any change that happened. However, there are people who sink enough time into the game to be able to dissect all that stuff.
You can blow up gas stations now with 8-Ball Face and Crab Man.
So yeah, there's the new changes. Yep, you can blow up gas stations according to the trailer. It's got medals for leveling up.
For leveling?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
leveling
You get them
in-game?
in like trash cans and stuff.
Oh, not
Am I reading that
so. It's
right?
like a medal that pops up on the screen if you harvest enough
Oh,
stuff.
medals.
Oh,
Medals.
I would
Not
think I
NET,
thought
sorry.
I was
Like
reading that you
hard
can
to
find them
smash
in
those
trash
cars.
cans.
Nah,
Yeah.
these are like medals that like
No.
level up your profile or whatever.
Oh, never.
Something you would wear.
Yeah, no, I know that. I just thought that I read somewhere. Maybe they were joking that you could find them in trash cans in the game, like
Maybe
these
you-
medals. I don't
For all
know.
I know, you can. It's got fishing. Yeah.
And you have to find the fishing rod.
It's so crazy. There's
Yeah, I
so
guess
much in
so.
this game, and I'm like, when does this take place?
Yeah, like, I don't-
I drop in and then die immediately to
Well,
someone who
and, like,
hits me with a green
to fish,
shotgun.
You fish, and then you eat the fish, and it gives you health, right?
Yes. Or you can fish up loot.
And I don't think you're like you just get a fishing rod. I think you have to go like locate one like you would any weapon in the game.
I would
Yeah.
guess that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's just weird. I get that battle again. Don't play Fortnite, so I don't know the pace of the game or anything other than the few times I've played it. Where again, I drop in and then immediately get killed by someone with a glowing green shotgun.
Yep.
But it's so weird the idea of like, oh, I found a fishing rod. Let's find a watering hole, sit there while I try and dredge stuff up from the bottom of this lake or whatever.
I mean, if you're playing a free to play game all day,
Yeah,
not every match you need to win. Sometimes you just want to goof around.
that's true.
And then let's say you do go fishing and you do fish up a purple shotgun. And you're like, oh shit, maybe we can win this one.
They do have a goof around mode too. Like it's like the free roam. Like
Oh, really?
I just want to play with my
yeah,
friends.
there's
yeah.
like creativity mode.
Oh, that
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
building mode.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
my gosh, I forgot about
Which
that.
is the only time I've ever really thought about playing it.
I
It's
feel like it
let's
came
just go
out and
into
people were
creativity
like, "This is cool," and then never heard about
Well,
it.
people use their golf or whatever shopping carts to launch themselves
Yeah.
off the map, and they were like, "Stop that!"
They made
please."
rocket ramps.
Yeah.
My question is, all the parents that had their kids tutored for Fortnite season or chapter 1, do they now have to
An
bring
investment
the
scrub.
tutors back for chapter 2?
Man,
Yeah.
if you want to be considered cool, I would say you do that.
Chapter
is-
2 has been a real boom for a lot of industries, a lot of Fortnite related industries.
The video game equivalent of all those American history teachers who were teaching people about Christopher Columbus all wrong, or basically everything about American history.
Apparently, I was looking at it. The most profitable like job positions you can have in at least America right now, not the whole world.
Esports.
No, number one's life coach. Number two is Fortnite coach, but it's like real close.
He's being facetious.
Is that because the startup costs are nothing?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say
You
a
You just go on
profitable-
Twitter
And-
and say, I am now a life coach.
And the skills are
you need
Well,
no
'cause
training, no education.
I feel like the first 3 months of tutoring.
Not about Fortnite.
the
I
amount-
respect Fortnite coaching a lot. Sorry, I didn't want
Oh,
to
no,
make
it's
that
Oh, we're
okay.
making fun of life coaches.
Yes.
Oh, I'm talking
Yeah.
about Fortnite coaches. I read that the first 3 months the mouse isn't even plugged in. It's just the
Really?
kid.
You just
Just
have to
learning
think
it.
about my
Yeah,
mouse.
that
pretend the
makes
game's
sense.
on.
Yeah. He
Wrist weights.
puts them in the back of a moving truck and it's on wheels. And so he's back there on a desk and
Yeah.
he has to keep it in this circle for a little while. Kid's head gets banged up a little bit, but man, he comes out
His
the other
hands
Well,
side.
steady.
he takes him to the park.
Yeah.
He takes a kite, flies it with the mouse on it. You got to grab it, and he goes, "If you can catch a kite, you can play Fortnite." And it's Rip Torn or whatever, and he's in a wheelchair, and Vince Vaughn's there.
Can you imagine being proposed to on the first day of chapter 2 in the game?
I could never
remember
imagine being
forever.
proposed to because I'm a man, and that doesn't happen in this country.
Okay.
It has though.
Well, it'd be thoroughly emasculating. God, could you imagine? Oh my God.
We're getting there.
How
It's
embarrassing.
fine.
Why are you kneeling at Disneyland? Get up! You're
is not why
embarrassing
you
me in
kneel.
front of Gaston.
You were asking us before this whole thing. You're like, what can Fortnite do to outdo a black hole? Because we all know black holes are the coolest thing in the world.
Well, before we get to that idea, Adam,
Yeah.
sorry. We all know that we have to save money for our expensive Fortnite lessons.
Yeah.
We can do that by slashing our phone bills with Mint Mobile. Guess what? You're overpaying for wireless service, and Mint Mobile is here to fix that. Mint Mobile's reimagined how you buy wireless, so it's all online. That's right, they keep costs low and pass those savings directly to you. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month. That's 4G LTE and unlimited talk and text for just $15 a month. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. So you can sign up for it, try it out for a week. If you find out maybe your coverage isn't so hot or it's just not working for you, send it back. No problem. But if it does work for you, then you get to keep all of that sweet, delicious money. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/dude. That's mintmobile.com/dude. Once more, cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/dude. Thank you, Mint Mobile, for enabling us to become the Fortnite champions we were destined to be. On that note, Adam, it sounds like you have a dynamite idea to upstage this whole black hole business. It's played out now.
The only thing I could think of, and this is back in the day, I remember my friends and I sitting around being like, man, it'd be so cool if Nintendo made like a Nintendo land, like a Disneyland. And now they are doing it only for the 2020 Olympics because they need to do that. But what if they made Fortnite land?
Well, so we were thinking about huge crossover events or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, if they did a Nintendo event, if they were like Mario is in.
Oh my God.
And there's a bridge that popped up.
Yeah.
There's a kingdom over there,
the
and
pipe
then
you go down.
Peach's
you can
Castle.
go into the island, and now
Crap.
you're getting in there. I think that's the only thing that I can think of that could get gamers like, oh shit. They're like, for the next month, you can explore Super Mario Land
Man, you're
as
right.
much as you want to.
Oh,
If you had little carts.
You have
Yeah.
Mario
Drive in
skins, and you can ride Yoshi. You can do all those things, but in Fortnite,
I can't imagine ever happening. It's going to be,
I want it so
you
bad.
go in,
it's going to be a lesser proproperty. It's going to be like,
So it's, yeah.
it's
We
going to
keep
be like,
saying that, but it's Fortnite.
Fortnite
They got
can afford
Thanos
anything. Yeah, they got
and John
Thanos.
Wick.
This is the future the liberals want.
All
I
video
just
games
think
colliding.
the
They got
video
Batman.
the video game part's a little harder because it's Nintendo being very protective, and they're like, you can't have Nintendo things on PC. It's gonna they're just gonna be like, no, don't do that. I would love it. Don't get me wrong.
That's what maybe that's old Nintendo though.
I can see
Nintendo's
them-
changing.
I mean, they've
Switch
always been.
exclusive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm kind of surprised. Does Fortnite on Switch have any Nintendo themed items in it?
that's a great.
I would guess like a
I know
Peach's Parasol
Diablo
or something.
does.
what
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
if you
And Google
own
it
it
if
if
you
you
want.
own it on Switch, then it unlocks it on PC.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And so
Okay.
you obviously have to own the Switch to be able to do it. But
Yeah.
like, imagine you go to Peach's Castle, and then you break the door down, and then you go in, and then it plays dun 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 dun
Oh,
dun,
God.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And
So
it
there is
looks
a-
like it has all the paintings and stuff from Super Mario 64.
There is an exclusive skin for the Switch edition of Fortnite, but it doesn't look like a Nintendo thing. It's just like white and red.
Are you saying Fortnite is like the tofu of gaming, where it just can take on the taste of anything that it's
Well,
adjacent to?
honestly, the only reason this game can do all these things is because it's built in the Unreal Engine by the people who made the Unreal Engine, and they know all the secrets
Yeah.
of it and how to manipulate
Like the
it.
secrets of Peach's Castle.
Well, I mean,
Where
I'm
all
just
the
saying,
stars
like,
are.
Sun.
Yeah,
the fact
all
that
the bodies
there-
underneath it.
like, just there probably aren't a lot of game engines out there where you can be in the game, then something can happen in that world queued by a server that everyone sees, and then it sucks you in seamlessly to the title screen, or like.
Or just a big black screen staring at
Yeah.
a hole where there's no interface. There was like a mini game that you could unlock, but
Can you imagine? They must have fucking when that all went off, the black hole event. They must have been in a control center like Cape
Yeah.
Canaveral,
Yeah.
cheering like they brought the astronauts home. I could see no other way of it going
Yeah.
down. Nick Chester lifted to the shoulders
Yeah.
of Tim Sweeney.
only
sunken cheeks.
only because
Pale
I've
skin.
been on both sides of things like this. Anytime this happens, there were about 1,900 things that went wrong that we didn't
Oh yes,
see.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So I remember you're saying like people are saying
Yeah.
like Nick can finally rest now. In reality, he's probably pulling his hair out because
Oh,
it's like, what happened? What happened? And then in the end, it all turns out okay, and all we see is a black hole and then a new game. And in our mind, we just saw the finished product and we go, they dreamed it and it happened. That's how these things go.
Lady Gaga tweeting about it.
Oh
she?
yeah, briefly.
Yeah,
she was like, "What's Fortnite?" Right?
Yeah. So what
she
is the
spelled-
weekend?
she spelled
Hashtag
it
ad.
N-I-G-H-T.
Yeah.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. She said, "What is
Too
Fortnite?"
cheeky. I'm pretty sure she's being cheeky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
She
It-
seems like she's got her finger on the pulse.
that's the thing. I forget what it is. It's like young person YouTube or something. It's comments of young people on YouTube. It's on Reddit. It's like just a collection of it. But someone said like, man, I haven't done that in a Fortnite. And someone's like the video game. And it's like, ooh, Fortnite meant, I don't know. And then there's like another one. There's a guy like in a lab coat goes, he looks like Rick from Rick and Morty.
Nice.
Like, you mean because he's wearing a lab coat? Yes.
Do you guys know if and if you're watching and you do know the answer to this, don't tweet me. But do you think that there's been a Fortnite joke in Big Bang Theory? Do you think that they are that
might be-
relevant enough?
yeah, that might be
well,
too recent.
Well,
Like I feel like it took them until season 12 to be like World of Warcraft laugh track.
Yeah,
you know?
Halo.
Yeah, I
They
remember.
did
I remember
Halo around the time Halo 3 was coming out. So like it was but once again, it's just noun replace.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So,
saying. But they have to be able to know the noun.
It had to. It had to. That.
It has.
odds
You think
have
there's
to
a
be good.
Fortnite joke somewhere
Yeah,
in Big
I'd
Bang
put money
Theory?
on it.
Hey, if you're watching at home, don't tweet me. Don't care.
Or do. Tweet him, but
I don't want to see any more Big Bang Theory than
If
I already have.
if they did do it, there was no actual joke written around it. There was no substance. It was
I meant shape of a joke.
Hey Sheldon, what are you doing? I'm playing
Yeah,
Fortnite.
laugh,
Yeah.
laugh at him, laugh at
I
him.
was just thinking.
Yeah.
He just states that he's playing Fortnite. And that's
You
the
don't
joke.
understand the intricacies of mining for wood in a virtual world. Laugh at him, laugh at him.
There's such attention to detail that he's holding the controller wrong or whatever. He's like, or
Or he's
there's
at a PC
another
with a
guy.
controller.
We're playing Fortnite.
There it is.
There's two of them holding controllers, just tapping on the buttons wildly.
And they're like
And there's a laugh
Xbox
track.
like 360 controllers, but they're like Wavebird looking things, and it's just they don't care.
My
They
favorite
didn't
thing
care.
is
they
like,
made money. They're done.
Frantic button tapping Foley that's inserted into any show or movie where there's a kid like crazy playing a game.
Yeah.
Or the fact that like circa 2008 movies still thought video games sounded like Atari, which was awesome. I need there's a lot of hypercuts I need to make of just a grand display of media. One is video games that sound way older than they should. Another, and I tweeted this out, so don't steal my idea, is every movie that ever used 5 seconds or less of lap dance from NERD.
Okay.
Yes, yes, Daredevil is going to make it.
Okay.
So will the trailer for Madagascar 3? I don't remember.
We're not going to fight you on this.
Yeah.
Well, as long as no one steals my good ideas.
Yeah.
Madagascar 3 trailer used lap dance?
One of them did. Of like all the penguins.
That's,
That sounds
that's
right.
strange to me though, because you would think that a movie like Madagascar, it would be like calculated that we're going to release this trailer. There's going to be a song with it. We're going to want kids to want to listen to the song and the lead up to the trailer. Probably don't want to use something called lap dance.
They don't care.
No?
They don't care. Madagascar doesn't care. Plays by its own rules. It always
Madagascar
has.
fucks? Are you saying Madagascar fucks?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Madagascar was the fringe feature of the animated animal.
It's got David
genre.
Schwimmer though.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Ben Stiller.
There it is.
here's the thing though. If it's just their voice and not their likeness, a la Shark Tale, it doesn't count.
Slap dance.
Maybe not. Never mind.
Oh, it's called slap dance, not lap dance.
No, I mean, it was in the trailer.
If you look up the song, it'll probably tell you what it was used in.
I think it was Penguins of Madagascar.
What is your preferred depiction of video games in a TV show? If you could choose between a game that's clearly licensed to be in it, so it's like, oh, we're playing Dead by Daylight, but when it cuts to the actors, they're playing the game wrong. Or it's a game that's made up for the movie, but when you see the game, it's a first-person shooter where the gun does this, where the gun moves around as opposed to the camera moving
Russian
around.
Doll, I really love that show, but its portrayal of it. There's a game that she works on, so it's an original game that they put in the show, and it's supposed to be this like blockbuster selling game, but it looks like a game that you could find like in an indie, section of the iTunes store.
Like Braid. It looks
Yeah,
like Braid,
and-
but worse.
But then she's also playing it, and her fingers are like claws.
Well, also the dude. There's one scene where she's talking with a guy, and he's like, can't get past level 5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and she's like, there's a trick to it. And
'Cause
he's
she
like,
worked
no
on
one
it,
could get,
yeah.
but he's like, no one ever got past level 5. And she's like, oh, there's a trick to it. He's like, how would you know? She's like, well, I made it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so a game came. So 2019, a game came out.
no one can beat it.
Looks like a worse version of Braid. Most popular, so popular that he has a physical copy of the game. And no one got past level 5. And it's a blockbuster. And no one knows how to get past level 5.
Also,
Sure.
When was the last time anything's been referred to as level 5?
Yeah.
Like if you play Celeste, you go, man, level 72 is tough.
It's a shame because the rest of the show's so well written.
Yes,
I'm like, if you don't know what something is, ask someone who does, and then they should write that scene for you.
It's the anomaly in that show. Unless they are also trying to write that show with a non-video game playing audience in mind. So they're like, oh, a non-video gamer would understand
nobody.
level 5 as opposed to the Equinox Forest.
Use the sound effect from level 4.
there's ways you could do things that aren't stupid that like still have the same.
There was
effect.
a well done interpretation of it in the show no one watched, *Halt and Catch Fire*, which I recommend you go watch. It's already done. It's finished. It's great. But the character, Mackenzie Davis's character, is a game programmer.
That's where. I've been seeing the Terminator billboards, and I'm like, where the hell have I seen that girl?
Also, Blade Runner 2049.
Right. Yes.
Also, Black Mirror. The
Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
I haven't seen all
Which
Black
one?
Mirror.
it's the
San Junipero.
Oh, yeah.
Junipero. She is pretty much typecast as like 80s girl.
Yeah.
Big
Sorry,
glasses.
massive derailed you there.
Oh no, that's fine. But she at one point is like a game developer, and it's actually I like their depiction of video games in that because like she's working on a 3D game before like 3D games were huge, and everyone's complaining. So like I don't get it, and she's like, why can't I kill stuff? She's like, it's an adventure game. You like travel, and they're like, it's stupid, and it looks like a game that would have come out where you've been like, that looks like it would have missed the mark back then. Like it may have been actually a real game, but I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
But there's a great part too where she's having a fight with her boyfriend, and he starts saying something about like, you don't change things. That's why Sega will always be Sega. And it was like, it's a well-written like throwaway.
Yeah.
If at the time it makes sense because it's like the late 80s, early 90s, and he's defending Sega. And it's like, if you know anything about video game history, you go, oh, that's a great line.
Yeah.
Good
But if you
writing.
don't, the emotion of it still works.
still sells it.
And then someday you may get the joke.
I don't know what made me just think of this right now, but we were talking about like what's the future of Fortnite, like how Fortnite could top itself, and Fortnite is maybe the game that could become from Ready Player One the
mix up of all things.
Oasis.
the mix up of all things. Like if they got all kinds of different properties
God, it is there, isn't
in
it?
Fortnite at all the same time, and
Well-
they blew it out. Like it's already getting GTA like with fishing and shit. Who knows what else?
We were talking about VR. Fortnite hasn't done
yeah.
anything with VR yet, and I don't
That's
know
true.
what that thing is. But even if you just had VR supported building, like you're in the world and you fly around and you can build with a greater accuracy, and they lean into the kitchen, or you can fish.
Do manual labor.
Like it probably wouldn't work for the pure shooting mechanics of that game, which aren't
Oh,
even. But
you would-
I don't even think that's the highlight of the game for most
You'd
people.
be in VR building, but what you don't realize is that you're controlling a robot in real life that's building the new Epic headquarters.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say chopping down Amazon forests.
An epic headquarters is going to look like a giant penis. Amazon Forest is going to be gone.
I was just thinking that not because I think VR is like the future. I think some form of it will be. The version we're using is just such early beta stuff, even like alpha. Like it's not quite there, but I could see someone being like, "We made Fortnite Land. It's a 3D VR experience." And like, cool. I do it for free. No, it costs money. You get into it, but like, we also didn't build it in real life because that would be stupid. Because building a real life theme park doesn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
And like, that could probably be a success in some way. We're like, all right, kids, go to the Discovery Zone and put on your helmets.
Yeah.
I mean, creating commerce within the world of Fortnite is kind of like imagine if a meteor hit the Whispering Woods. But in its place is now a Fortnite merch store.
Yeah.
And now you can just go an H&M. And now you can go in there and try on jeans or whatever. And then you dress your character in the game and then you click check out and then it sends you those clothes.
I mean, it is a little weird to me, the marketing beats Fortnite has been able to get away with virtually no blowback, considering that game is for kids. Specifically, like John Wick.
First of all, how dare you?
Sorry. Kid inclusive.
I had this thought.
It's free to play, so there's
I had a similar thought to this because 90s cartoons were really interesting. So last time we watched Beetlejuice, great Halloween movie. Recommend you watch it if you've never seen it. They made a kids cartoon version of that, and as far as I know,
I loved it.
the main characters of the movie are not in it.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
Are they?
Yeah,
Lydia's in it.
Lydia
Beetlejuice
and
is in
Beetlejuice
it, but not Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis.
That's
No.
what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
oh,
They
yeah,
are
yeah.
the main characters of that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is only in the movie for
Yeah, but they're downers.
no, exactly. But what they made a cartoon out of the most vile character.
Yeah.
Who's like, goes, nice fucking model, and then grabs his crotch.
Yeah, he was not the protagonist of that movie.
Yeah, and he's like a pervert, and he's a really dark character. But there's also like a RoboCop cartoon and a Police Academy cartoon.
Well, and now
The
they-
toys that are guns.
They've teamed him up in a fun buddy relationship with the girl he tried to force into marriage with him.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's
child
great
bride.
though. You can do the difference. Kids can work the math out there.
I'm just saying, compared to what we were sort of sold, where someone is like, I can make a cartoon out of anything Jim Carrey has ever been in.
Are you going to talk about that story of the pop-up bar?
Yeah, I was trying to find it. But like, there was a Beetlejuice pop-up bar.
The review?
And then, there's like a dude who went to it dressed as Beetlejuice and was going around like groping women and drinking people's drinks.
These women were like, at first we got there, we thought it was really fun. There was a guy dressed as Beetlejuice, and he was going around from table to table drinking our drinks and making jokes and whatever. But then they learned later that, like, they asked the staff, like, where'd that impersonator go? Your, like, staff. And they were like, what impersonator?
Hey, come on. Hey,
Yeah, it was some dude who wandered into the pop-up bar. And was just,
He started drinking people's drinks, fucking with them.
Wow. He is really gropey in that movie.
yes,
I forgot.
very inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, in that, like, you're not meant to like his character,
Right.
Or maybe you do just because he's just so incorrigible. But
Yeah. So my favorite part at the end of it, they went, "You'd make a great Batman." He goes, "You're right, I would."
Hey, come on. Hey.
So Beetlejuice was before Batman.
I believe it was 1 year before. Yeah.
Weird.
Really weird.
Gosh.
But it's great because it's like you look at
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
yeah.
Keaton was in that?
Beetlejuice.
Oh, you mean Burton? Sorry.
Yeah.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I thought you were talking about Michael
Beetlejuice,
Keaton.
And then Batman.
Well, I can see that. I think the DNA is there.
Michael Keaton, I feel like somehow got pushed into this like he's just a regular guy role, like stereotype, but he was Beetlejuice. Like he was
He's a
Beetlejuice,
great character actor.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a far cry from, I guess, him playing the Vulture. You know, where it's like, you will play father. Want me to do anything weird? No. You're just a good old boy. Like
Just be evil.
Yeah.
Or sorry, be a boomer, basically.
Yeah.
yeah. Just act like the world is yours. You take.
There were a couple of scenes he had some good mustache twirls going on. The one where he's like driving the car and Peter's in the back seat.
Oh no, I think he was great in
He
the
had
role.
some great like villainous snarls in that.
But-
scene.
But it's not like under makeup, like why
Yeah.
he's not transforming in anything.
There's
he
a
should have
lot
been
of-
in Pirates somewhere, probably.
yeah, he wasn't like Spider-Man, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe levels of.
No. But like think of like the amount of work that goes into like a silly scene in Beetlejuice. Right. All right, we're gonna put this thing on your head, and then it has little bats hanging from it, and your arms will be these inflatable arms, and then you say
Noodle arms.
you say something funny like "Welcome Kmart shoppers," and he's like, "Okay," but he does. He goes, "Welcome Kmart shoppers," and he does the whole thing. And you're like, he sells it every time he does anything. It's perfectly cartoony. He's like, as a kid, I loved Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah.
The best part is when
cartoon.
he's digging around for the ring and he pulls out and it's still got the finger. She meant nothing to me. I swear, she meant nothing to me.
But then he goes, "Do you take her to be your wife?" And then he turns to the camera. I don't know. I said I'd never do it again. I'm going to
so
do
good.
it, even though he knows he's under a time crunch.
And it's all his manifestation. It's so good.
I, Lydia Dietz,
And you know
hereby.
when I was a kid, I must have seen, Batman and Beetlejuice in what, like 1991 or whatever. Did not at all realize that was the same man.
Oh, I
that
didn't
played
either.
Batman and Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I didn't
Like,
either.
No.
Nah.
But he's great.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton's great.
Not to get off the Fortnite topic, but Beetlejuice is
Well,
a great movie.
if you want to see it all in one film, Multiplicity, where he plays regular guy, he shows his whole range, regular guy, tough guy, mentally handicapped guy, and gay guy,
Yeah.
all in one movie.
Yeah.
And it's all Michael Keaton.
If I was a lender, I would give Michael Keaton an amazing interest rate.
Thank you, Elise. I've been looking for an in for a while.
Nice.
But like a good friend, Elise is there to lift me up when I'm in trouble. Just like Upstart, the lending company can help you. So let's hear from them. A typical lender will look at your credit score to determine your credit worthiness and the amount of money you can get. But Upstart is different because that's old tech, and we're all about new stuff here on Dude Soup. Upstart goes beyond the traditional credit score when assessing your credit worthiness. Because of that, they reward you based on your education and your job history in the form of a smarter interest rate. Upstart believes in you. They care about you. They know you. They're watching you right now. That's how much they love you. They know that you're more than just your credit score. They believe in you and they understand that. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes. And once the loan is approved and accepted, most people get their funds the very next business day. Why is this important? Because you can use that to help pay off any credit card debt, student loan debt, what have you. Basically, if Upstart gives you a lower interest rate than you're already paying, just makes sense to get a loan up from them, pay it all off, shift to the new interest rate, and save all that money. Upstart would invite you to see why they are the #1 in their category on Trustpilot with over 300 businesses partnered. Hurry to upstart.com/dude to find out how low your Upstart rate can be. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and won't affect your credit. Once more, that's upstart.com/dude. Thank you for the sponsorship, Upstart. Thank you, Upstart, for enabling us to buy the Blu-ray box set of Beetlejuice that we've long lusted after but have yet to afford. So,
What else is in that box, I wonder?
just 3 or 4 behind the scenes making of commentaries. They compile a lot of YouTuber video essays on the topic. It makes for a great watch. I only fell asleep through it 3 times. It's speaking of like movies that are bizarrely remembered or justifiably remembered in some cases, but since Halloween is Stephanie time, girlfriend, she basically books out all of our weekends from about the middle of September through the end of the year, basically. One such event was this freeform pop-up that included Nightmare Before Christmas, makes sense, and Hocus Pocus, doesn't quite.
Nightmare Before Christmas, the Halloween movie.
I'm not going to fight anyone on that. Oh,
I would say Hocus Pocus. I mean, why wouldn't it make sense? It's Halloween, no?
I watched it when it came out. I remembered watching it, sort of. I wasn't aware that there was a following for it.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a largely forgettable Disney movie.
Yeah.
Turns out that's not true.
No.
So Stephanie had never watched it, which confused a lot of people given her goth tendencies.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So we did the event. It was okay. Like typical Instagram stuff. It's just like, here's a bunch of sets and like very cheap props you can put on to take photos. I ate some candy. That was nice. There was a thoroughly melted Butterfinger. Very happy about that.
Wonderful.
Sarah Jessica Parker's breasts.
Well, yeah, they're
they
there.
there?
They're in that movie.
Let's just isolate that quote, put that on a
Well,
soundboard.
it was a weird
Parker's
thing because I remember the
breasts.
trailer for that. I was like, there's an old one, there's a heavy set one, and there's a hot one. And then kind of like Michael Keaton is as Beetlejuice. It wasn't until many years later that I was like, that was Sarah Jessica Parker.
You're like, Kathy and Jimmy's the hot one now.
I never saw the movie. I just remember seeing the trailers as a kid where they're like, it's the ugly one, the fat one, and the sexy one. I was
Yeah.
like, why are they advertising the sexy one? I'm 8 or 9 or whatever right now.
It worked.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
weird. There are a lot of weird decisions about that movie.
Yeah.
For example, and I was talking about this before, but it is strange that the running gag through the entire film is a variety of characters making fun of our protagonist who is well underage for being a virgin. I don't find it offensive or whatever. It's just a weird look for a movie targeted to kids.
That was a trope, definitely in the
Yeah.
late
80s through early 90s, I would
The
say.
teenage virgin is the loser.
'Cause I'm pretty sure in Weird Science they're like freshmen in high school.
Yeah, I'm trying to get laid.
Yeah.
I mean, that read more in the coked up, dirty 80s, but like, I think Hocus Pocus was 93. I thought it was supposed to be well out of that window.
Well, there's like Once Bitten where that's sort of a plot point too, where they're like Jim Carrey's a virgin and then they like bang in a, they're in high school
but
or whatever it
that's
is.
for adults, right? Kind of.
Once Bitten, I think it was in high school.
There was no line.
You're right.
It
The
didn't matter.
line didn't form until honestly the mid to late 90s where they were like, maybe kid stuff should be for kids and adult stuff should be for adults. Because before it was like, if anyone goes to see this, great. Who cares?
I just feel like I don't know. I since had rewatched Death Becomes Her, which is
I love that.
an
Yeah.
amazing film,
Yeah.
and I struggle to see in any way how Hocus Pocus does anything that movie did better in any possible capacity.
Hocus Pocus
That's
is
a
like
weird comparison, but
It feels the same to me. I don't know
Okay.
why. Just a bunch of magic broads being loose.
I mean,
on the
that's
town.
what Hocus Pocus is, I think, generally harmless.
Hocus Pocus is the children's witches of Eastwick.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cher, who are the witches of Eastwick? Cher, Susan
Angelica
Sarandon,
Houston.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
and Michelle Pfeiffer
I think it's Michelle.
What am I thinking of?
from The Witches.
Oh, I
Houston,
got
right?
that's right. Angelica, which is the one with Jack Nicholson in it.
That's Witches of Eastwick.
Oh, okay.
And Wolf.
Fun fact: the animatronic cat from Hocus Pocus is the same used in Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
No.
Yeah,
Is it really?
fact check it.
Salem,
Salem?
the crappy puppet.
He doesn't sound like that.
No. It's a throwaway line. It's my favorite throwaway line ever in Venture Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Where Colonel Gentleman is trying to teach Dean how to spot like a polymorph or whatever, basically, and he's like, now you watch all these episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and you point out when it's a real cat or that crappy puppet. And he's like, do all these episodes have like Salem the Cat? It's like Sabrina the Teenage Witch is the only show with Salem the Cat, anyway, which is not true. He was in other stuff.
Back to Hocus Pocus. The trick to capturing the preteen / early teen female audience is to make something terrible.
I mean, yeah,
And-
Teen Witch.
You take something scary and you make it
Twilight.
hot.
Well,
You're absolutely
I'm saying,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yes.
kind of the core of it.
And so
isn't it?
you have to.
Vampires.
So Death
Werewolves.
Becomes Her still has. What makes it great is it has edge. It has genuine moments of like tension and kind of fear and creep out and stuff. Hocus Pocus has none of that.
I thought when I mean,
Except for the beginning, the opening
granted,
sequence
No,
or
I was
whatever.
pretty stupid, you're
I was
right.
pretty young, but I did think that
where my brain
Billy
went.
was pretty scary.
Well,
when
because
I-
he's got
like, when I
stitching in his
first saw
mouth or
it,
whatever. Yeah, like there's
I was
maybe a
7 or
handful of
whatever.
imagery in there that's trying to get some sort of rise out of you, but that's just so that way they're tricking you into thinking that it's happening in your vagina. That's the trick.
Yeah. So like, yeah,
It's a
like
trick.
Easily
So you don't know the
I'm
difference.
thinking of his mouth being sewn up as my vagina being off limits.
Mhm,
Oh.
exactly.
But
And
you
once
love that
they-
idea, though,
Once
right?
you cut
And then the
open
sexy
string,
boy is
then
turned into
I
a
can
harmless
come
cat.
I was gonna say I do enjoy dissecting.
Oh, Devon Sawa played.
You're right, and he was a heartthrob back in.
Was it Devon Sawa?
I'm pretty
Why
sure.
was he always playing? Because he was Casper too.
He had floppy hair.
Oh.
And idle hands.
And
It's before his teeth started running away from each other.
Final Destination.
Was he the cat
Devon-
after it
I'm
transformed?
fairly certain because I remember
Yeah.
seeing that
Okay.
name recently, and that'd be the only reason why. Maybe
I feel
not.
like
Maybe
Devon
not.
Sawa, his time was too early. He probably would have been better if he was born like 10 years ago.
Devon
No,
Sawa is
no, it
fine.
wasn't.
He's on Twitter,
Oh.
and yeah,
was-
for all
who was
intents and
that boy?
purposes, he's doing fine.
Another.
Okay.
So-
he's got
Twink.
the Hocus Pocus groupies.
Never forget that
it
if
Elijah?
you're
I don't know
a
his name.
famous actor at any point for even a little while, and then you stop being famous, like it seems like your career is over, as long as you didn't blow everything
Yeah.
and go bankrupt, you're probably going to be rich for the rest of your life.
Well, and God, given I think we'd remarked or talked about it a while ago, but given how just like sequel and property hungry everything is, I mean,
yeah.
there's a decent bet in 20 years they're going to do a sequel.
Idle hands too.
Yeah,
Idle Hands.
I don't practice Santeria. That's the last
I
one.
know. Also, The Offspring's in
I
it.
think
It's a
you're
great
thinking
movie.
of Harvey Danger.
Tom DeLonge's in there. No, he's right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Santeria.
The final,
Oh, it
final,
was?
final shot
as
is
his friends walk away into the
Seth Green and other guys.
Foggy.
Seth Green
walk
and
away.
Foggy.
Yeah.
And Foggy, yeah, walk away
Good
into
God, what are
into
you guys
heaven.
talking about?
as Vivica A. Fox is with the other guy. And,
How many? I'm going to pose
Jessica
this
Alba in Idle Hands.
because I was Sailor Moon suddenly popped into my head, and now Sabrina. How many magical young women also have cats?
Oh.
Because I feel like that's a trope, right?
Probably.
Yeah, yeah,
Because that would be
absolutely.
your familiar, right?
Yes.
I guess it's that in Magic you have a familiar and a cat.
Cats
is
generally
like-
have feminine. I feel like have more of a feminine
Yeah.
attribute to them. So I think if you're gonna
As
give
opposed to like a ferret.
Yeah, because you
Or
can have a
ferrets are
ferret.
Awesome. No,
Yeah.
As a
the
familiar.
Beastmaster
Or
of Ferrets.
dog.
He was a cool dude.
Well, see, and that's what led you to think that because
Yeah.
someone said if we gave the Beastmaster a cat,
No,
it
give him
wouldn't
a
work.
ferret.
Give him something manly like a ferret.
I'm
But-
waking up to all these tropes. Like, it just occurred to me that there's a spat of like romantic comedies in like the 2010s where a young professional woman gets a job in a magazine
Oh,
because
yes.
women love books.
Oh, yeah.
and that's like the cool
Well,
version.
that's where
of books.
fashion lives.
Magazine or advertising is like the default woman's profession in romantic comedies.
But they never actually do anything.
It's
They
like-
just
yeah.
they're usually in a meeting and they point at something and they clap.
Yes.
Or they
It's-
look up from a table full of papers and
it's like
with a pencil in their hands.
the romantic comedy. It's like it's I think it's like a fetish sized job of like, well, look at how she lives this like life where she has expensive clothes and she's got power. The one interesting romantic comedy job I thought I was like, that's kind of different is in what's that movie with Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet? They switch The
Diaz.
Holiday where they switch houses.
Oh, never seen
Well,
it.
Cameron Diaz, her profession is that she produces trailers for movie studios.
Okay.
So like she doesn't really do any work also because like when they show her at work, it's just her in a screening room and her editor is working on the trailer and then she's got an assistant and then she's like, yes, that shot, let's lock it now. And like you kind of get the impression that this is what Cameron Diaz does. She stands in this room and she shouts at the editor and is like,
Yeah.
but there's no real hands-on.
As opposed
work.
to You've Got Mail, where she owns a quiet, independent bookshop.
Oh Lord,
That's a very feminine, very feminine job.
I love it.
But I was like, no, she works in the movie industry. She's cutting trailers, sure.
The best interpretation of it
different.
was
Yeah,
I
that's
think it was
interesting.
50 Shades Grayer or whatever, the second one.
Where she works at a magazine.
She works at a magazine. And the only work they ever show her do is when they go, yeah, I think the font size should be bigger in this book. And they go, that's a great idea. And they walk away, and that's the only work you ever see her do. But she also literally slept her way into that job. So I don't know.
So Hocus Pocus, huh?
Yeah,
Not great.
yeah. Magical girl with cat though, and also the cat is a cute
Who
boy
else?
who has an unrequited romance. I just love seeing the math of like how certain fantasies are cobbled together, especially when probably by a dude in the 93. I don't know that.
I don't know.
Maybe that movie was written
Well,
by
like
a lady,
Casper.
but-
Casper came up. So Christina Ricci hangs out with Casper the whole movie. At the end, he's transformed into Devon Sawa.
Also, Casper's basically a cat.
And they make out. But that was the same guy that was a potato head ghost like 2 minutes ago.
True. She should have made out. It's like my version of Ghost, where the whole movie's the same except for the scene when he goes into Whoopi Goldberg's body and then they dance together and caress. In my version, they never cut in Patrick Swayze there. It stays Whoopi Goldberg, so all the caressing is still Whoopi Goldberg, and then it's her making out with Whoopi Goldberg. But in my version of
70s.
Casper, it's basically the whole.
That's an 80s movie.
Huh? No, Caged Heat, man.
Ghost?
No,
He's talking about a different movie.
Oh,
where chicks make out.
But yeah, in my version of Casper, he doesn't transform into Devon Sawa.
He's just potato
well,
head
no,
ghost.
he should look the same, but flesh tone and with a little baby dick.
Yeah, yeah. It's a naked. It's Richie Rich.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
turns into a monstrous, disgusting Richie Rich.
Yeah.
But these
What did your
I can't think
uncles
of other
look like?
Catwomen.
What?
Oh, there's
can't think of-
Catwoman.
Oh, I
Man,
guess-
you want to talk about like horrifically, scientifically cobbled together stories from dudes that are theoretically supposed to appeal to women? Catwoman is amazing.
Halle
Holy
Berry's
crap.
Catwoman?
Yeah, because the
never-
whole
never
movie
seen
is
it.
about makeup. It's about women fighting over makeup.
Yeah.
It's so great. Oh my gosh. I love it so
I've never
much.
seen it. I did not know that was the thing.
started
The
it.
post Spider-Man world was a fun one to walk through. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
you got
got
your Ghost
thi-
Riders.
you got things like Daredevil and Catwoman where they're like,
Electra.
where they're like, we don't really know
God,
what
there
we're
was an Electra.
doing.
No,
I
we don't
finally
know
watched
what the
Daredevil.
secret sauce was.
Now
when
I
we
can
watched
watch.
it.
Now I can watch Electra.
We couldn't deconstruct that film at all.
Oh, that's what reminded me because Daredevil has a lap dance sequence.
Does it?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes.
I remember
is
the
it?
park, and
I
I
think
remember
it's the intro song when you see Bullseye for the first time.
Oh.
Oh no, wait,
No,
it's the
Bullseye
Kingpin.
I would say Bullseye
Yeah.
for the first time is definitely him
Some
at that
Irish
Irish
rock
bar
shit, yeah.
throwing
No,
a lot
it-
of bullseyes.
It's I'm a dirty dog. Well, like Kingpin is like walking in, so you know he's the bad guy.
Nice, nice.
I remember
so
Jon Favreau saying something kind of racially insensitive in that movie.
What do you mean?
Yeah, Jon Favreau.
He plays Foggy.
Yeah.
And he said it's something like Kingpin's walking out thing, and he said, I forgot what he said. It's like, oh, I forget.
Jon Favreau was in Batman Forever, which makes me love that
Wait.
movie even more.
What?
Yes.
Where?
Doesn't have a speaking line. He's one of the Wayne executives that's like flanking Bruce when he walks into Edward
Oh.
Nygma's lab.
Wow.
Yes. And he's in another shot later when like, I don't know, Bruce Wayne is signing some paperwork.
We're getting way off topic, but I love that scene when he goes into Edward Nygma's lab.
Yeah, it's confusing because that like the flow chart of the story means that by the end of this scene, he needs to have motivation
It
to be a
doesn't
villain.
make, but it also
makes no
it also
sense.
can't be Bruce Wayne acts poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne has
Yeah.
to be pure good the whole time, but he still has to be to
Incite
blame for Edward Nygma.
yeah.
So he walks in and he's just, hey, I just want to see how things are going here in this sweatshop where all my scientists are working independently on their own projects in their cubicles.
Near a waterfall.
And then Jim Carrey runs up. He's like, I have this new idea. It's this crazy thing. It already sounds terrible. But then Bruce Wayne's reaction is, there's a lot of potential in this idea, and I'd love to talk to you more about this as soon as possible. And then Jim Carrey goes, that's not soon enough.
But
he's like-
he's distracted because he sees the bat signal at
Yeah.
3 p.m. or something.
Yeah,
and
he's like, unfortunately, I have to go right now. He's like, no, you have to. Is this a deal right now? I'll cut you in on it. And it's like, dude, you work for him. What deal are you talking about? You're literally making Wayne Industry science in the lab. And
Using
then,
his
and then he
materials
goes,
and machines.
well,
His
if you're
R&D,
asking
yeah.
for an answer right now, Edward, I'm going to have to say the answer is no. And he's like, I'll kill you. I'll take everything from you, Wayne. He doesn't fire him or he doesn't do anything.
I want to see the part where Edward Nygma gets his paycheck.
Yeah.
And he goes, what should I buy? How about like a guy in a giant glass, a glass thing that points a yes or no or question marks?
yeah.
Because it's just like, he's like, pay off student loans? No, buy this glass Riddler thing.
If only I had to migrate to an upstart ad read, but I don't. Instead, it's Squarespace. So if you are working on your riddles on the internet, maybe you should put them all on a website so people can see them. Our podcast is sponsored by Squarespace. That's right. You can use Squarespace to share your passion with the entire internet, whether you're fanatically dedicated to the hit film Batman Forever, or I don't know, you're looking for a job and you want to show people what you can do. In editing, reel, graphic design, Squarespace is great for all of it. Every Squarespace template design supports all major content types, which means you don't have to start from scratch. Just import something that they made, tweak it to your liking, and you're ready to go. That includes pages, galleries, blogs, commerce, calendars, and more. Squarespace can also authenticate through your social media profiles, letting you auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr. All post entries and images are optimized and tagged properly, so descriptions and titles will be correctly referenced, which is helpful if you're, selling some crafts, you got some fan art you're trying to shuffle out there to the internet, get it out there and make it look right. Squarespace has been publishing sites on the web for more than a decade, and that includes all the best known practices for SEO. You don't need any plugins. You don't have to hire any contractors to tell you to just put Pokemon in the tags. It'll be there automatically. Thank you, Squarespace. So go to squarespace.com for a free trial right now. And when you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/dudesoup to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Once more, that's squarespace.com/dudesoup for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you, Squarespace, for the sponsorship. So yes, check out my Batman Forever fan site. It's been there for 20 years, still waiting for a single comment.
Does it have the counter?
Yeah.
Goes to 2.
Sign
Oh,
my
wait, it was
guest
just
book.
me.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right, Batman, Adam. The Batman Forever is an incredibly layered film because he was more distracted than ever by the bat signal because he knew that hot piece was waiting on the roof. That weird girl with the Batman fetish who was just hanging out on the rooftop in her lingerie. Man, that movie's great.
Also, yeah, man.
I think
The
she goes to a
opening,
crime scene in her lingerie, and then she's like, hit me up. Something. He's like, yeah.
well, the opening scene is Two-Face stealing that vault.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Batman, instead of going directly into it, like lands next to Commissioner Gordon, and she's there, and he's like, Commissioner, what's the problem? He's like, Two-Face is up there, and he's stealing the vault, and there's some guy. And he's, who's this? And she's like, I will blow you in the suit. We can do it right now. He's like, I think I have to do this, but I will be right back.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Film.
Good movie.
And then it turns out the vault was a trap, an acid trap.
It was.
Because I guess Two-Face went to the trouble of rigging it up with acid tubes
He
before
did.
he stole it.
Also, Two-Face flipped the coin to see whether or not he was going to kill the guard or not, and it said no. So he said, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to lock you in a vault that is filled with acid. If you die, that's on the acid.
You're right. It is a better implementation than Dark Knight.
Great.
It only would have been better. He says, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Then he puts his wings up and flies away.
Two-Face
Wait.
does that?
Yeah. Well, except for the way Two-Face gets away is he jumps out of the helicopter. He uses what is it? The lock, the U-lock or
Oh,
whatever?
yeah, the club.
The club.
Yeah.
On a helicopter?
To keep it from, well, first of all, it's a steering wheel in a helicopter. It's a perfect
Then he
It's
goes-
a perfect film.
And he's like, I got the club. And then he accidentally kills his own pilot. And then he jumps out and he has a yin-yang parachute. And then Batman's like, dang it, he got away.
Fortnite has Batman, but it doesn't have Batman Forever Two-Face.
Yeah, which is
Imagine
a real
floating
shame.
over the map in Two-Face's car-locked, steering wheel-driven helicopter, and then you jump out there. Those bloody yin and yang.
And it's just nothing but like
Yeah.
Party City lights all over the floor.
Yep.
If only, if Batman Forever, if they should do a Batman Forever day on Fortnite. And
Oh,
then
I can't agree
those
more.
two ripped dudes with the drums just banging
Yeah.
it, giant statues just holding up giant pieces of metal.
I'm so glad we got to talk about Batman Forever today.
I'll do it every week. That's fine.
That's so good to hear. I try to bring it up a lot, and I've just been shot down a lot lately. So this is
Where are you doing this?
in my room alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my echo hasn't been so favorable lately. One last thing. Well, nah. One thing I did want to mention briefly when it comes to my consumption of garbage is that I'm extremely excited that Disney Plus is getting their entire Dark Year run on the service. All of your garbage, like young Kurt Russell live action films and
Yep,
stuff.
Barefoot Executive, baby.
So,
World's Strongest Kid, I think is the other Kurt Russell one.
yeah, I'm at a
Candle shoe. That's not Kurt Russell.
I'm at a bit of an
The
impasse.
boy with a computer chip in his head or something. Was that one?
I thought it was a joke. I thought there was a parody
premise of it?
account
No.
at first that was like, could you imagine all these these fit the tone and structure of a stupid Disney movie, but it's not. Because there was one that was like, what was the one? It was like a family, and it was like the only family left or something, and it's like there was a bunch of weird ones in there. I was like, are these real?
It was prime troll material. Pixelated Boat got in on the action pretty good, making some fake Disney movies. But so I had a project a while ago. I like to consume movies and projects. I don't know, it gives me direction. So I watched all the Bond films. That was a delightful experience. I'm actually probably going to do it again. just to see what I missed out on the first time. Because boy, you sure do get the static in the Moore era.
There's a
Just
scene
like,
in
what did I
Gold-
just watch?
There's a scene in Goldfinger where John Favreau is off to the side.
I would believe it, man. He was all around. So I did have a project where I wanted to watch every Disney cinematic release,
Okay.
which is tough to define.
Yeah.
So I guess ideally it would be every movie that just has the Disney like logo animated in front of
Okay.
it. Not necessarily animated feature, but when I started to like dig into that and figure out what that meant, it's well over, I think, 100 films. And if it's every Disney movie ever, it's over thousands.
Yeah.
So then I trimmed it down to every animated feature. I can still pivot because where I like left off at Dumbo because they started pulling their movies off streaming services. Now we can get back to it. The question is, do I keep it every Disney theatric release or every Disney animated theatric release?
Theatrical release seems like way more than 100. Like every single thing that has a Disney logo in front of it that was released in a theater.
There was also a weird time too. So,
Is there a list of
but
them?
But
I'm
so,
trying to
pull them
find
up.
it.
so it has to have been in theater. So like Bambi 2 doesn't
Yeah,
count.
I was like,
Oh, but that's the good stuff though, right?
Yeah.
well, so
direct-to-video?
you're gonna miss out on Return of Jafar, but you are gonna get Aladdin 3.
So,
King of
okay.
Thieves.
King of Thieves, yeah.
Yeah.
That had a theatrical release.
I don't.
I
did
think
it?
so.
Maybe.
I think so because they got Robin Williams back.
Yeah.
So even
And no one
animated.
could tell the difference.
And there's also animated films distributed by Miramax. So Bionicle 3, Web
Like
of
you
Shadows.
said, I think
No,
your
I don't
rule's
think
pretty
it
simple.
counts.
It has to have that
Yeah, Disney logo.
Disney logo.
Something that they were proud of, not something that they wanted to hide behind the Miramax logo of.
I mean, Kill Bill. I think it was Miramax.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even count that in the list.
Yeah.
You're not
List
going to get a
okay.
clear picture of what they were making.
List of Walt Disney Pictures films, which I think is all of it. Some of the stuff's going to be hard to find. I mean, like Song of the South, obviously, is going to be difficult.
Oh,
I know a guy. It's me.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure it's online somewhere.
Yeah.
So
I can
let's
give you
see
the
here.
record.
UHD.
Okay, yeah, this includes live action. There's a lot. Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
I mean, because they were basically Netflix in like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, this
They
contains,
were
like,
Netflix and they were just like, we are going to corner the market of
Ghost in the
motion
Shell?
pictures by releasing more shit than anyone else can.
Like Herbie, right? Herbie the Love Bug.
Oh,
Isn't
there
that
were
Disney?
a ton of those. Yeah, Apple Dumpling Gang.
Well, like there's Flubber, like there's all those
Yeah, they just
movies.
had like Haley Mills on contract and she was pumping movies.
Dr.
out.
Doolittle. I mean, again, they were just flooding the industry
High
for
School
like 3
Musicals.
decades.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it's weird because a lot of those movies have a weird resonance with me because the older I get, the more I realize that there is just there at least used to be a massive time lag of culture, like starting at the coast and radiating inward.
Mm-hmm.
So in a small town in Texas, I was watching like Apple Dumpling Gang in
yeah.
like the late mid 90s, thinking it was a new movie.
Yeah. I think that was a thing, though. I only think until recently people were watching things topically like that. Because
Yeah.
the same way, I'd go over to
Like
a friend's
Saludos
house
Amigos. How am I going to find that?
and
Yeah.
someone would be like, "Oh, where Mary Poppins? I have Mary Poppins on VHS, and it's a brand new VHS." And in my mind, it wasn't. That's an old movie. It was just this is a boring movie.
The list you're looking at is color coded, and there are some documentaries on there. Are you gonna watch those?
Sure. Oh yeah, because there was a Disney was bizarrely in the very early days. They like put out a bunch of like tourism style things. What was it?
I'm telling you, they were
Three Caballeros
Netflix.
and stuff.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were Netflix.
They also had
They were.
They had
They
some
were like-
really awesome. I don't know if they were. I think I only
Documentaries,
saw them
yeah,
on
what are
TV,
those?
but they did those like weird like animated like in the future like
yeah.
cars will drive at the side of buildings and your children will live in
Walt
cubes.
will live forever.
Yeah, Walt. This is where Walt's head will go.
Frank and Ollie was what? Yeah, 95 documentary film about the life and careers of Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, two chief animators. They did a documentary about their own animators. Weird.
I mean, they also did Waking Sleeping Beauty, which is another documentary
Oh, yeah.
about some of their greatest achievements and some of their darkest days.
Well, they
Ghosts of
also
the Abyss?
did
Oh, it's a
Saving
James
Mr.
Cameron one.
Banks.
Oh yeah.
Did they
made a
make
mo-
that?
Disney, I'm pretty sure Disney made Saving Mr. Banks.
They must have.
And because I mean, it's Tom Hanks. It's like, I'm Walt Disney. I just love movies so much that I just want them to be so great for our audiences whatsoever. I'm not going to yell at you.
There's a movie called African Cats.
I remember that one.
That's a
Pretty
newer
recent.
one, right?
Yeah, 2011.
Yeah,
So there's
I
a
think
lot here.
They do
I-
a lot of these like these animal documentaries where animals don't kill each other, which is a little different.
Let me know
from-
when you get to Dinosaur.
Just a movie called Dinosaur.
Yeah.
2000s Dinosaur.
Has a
right?
ride.
yeah.
Has a ride in Orlando.
Ew.
No, it's going to be
Let me
there
know
for
when
much
you get to
longer.
Shaggy Dog, Tim Allen's.
Yeah.
Max Keeble's big move. So I guess the trick is that the reason that I like consuming garbage around a theme is that I find a narrative in either the passage of time or the passage of culture around those things. Bond is like, especially because it always reflects the situation it's put in. You know, like Star Wars comes out, lo and behold, Bond's in space firing laser guns.
Yeah.
And I think Moonraker is still probably the most, like the highest grossing Bond movie ever. Maybe adjusted for inflation. I could be wrong about that.
I don't know.
I know it was
Maybe.
the case for a long time.
I don't know.
So yeah, it's fun to derive those particular conclusions. I'm not sure what I would get out of watching every Disney theatric, aside from just the march of time and I guess certainly Disney's like sine wave of production. Like they just blow it out.
You've got
Yeah.
Three
Certain
Mighty
ages.
Ducks to get through. You have a movie where they exploit fat children.
Oh, Holes? No, wait.
No.
What's it? Heavyweights?
Heavyweights, yeah.
Heavyweights.
That was Disney? I already saw it. Well, I
Did
need
they
to watch it. in
exploit
Sitz.
fat children? I always thought that was funny because Ben Stiller was like, "Stop eating candy and exercise," and they're like, "You're evil, evil.
Diabetes is your
How
problem.
could you do this to us?" He's
Wait,
like,
that
"Please."
Dark Cat was from
Oh,
the
I remember
60s?
Blackbeard's Ghost.
What would be weird is kind of along the excuse me, kind of along the lines of people realizing that Homeward Bound was not an original movie, realizing that Disney's been remaking the same films for about 100 years. Because I didn't know that darn cat was came out in the 60s.
Sure.
Sure.
No one did. That's why
Monkeys
they-
Go Home. All right.
Man.
Let's see what that's all about.
They weren't strong enough to make strong movies like Wishbone. Oh wait, Monkey Bone. Sorry, Monkey Bone.
I'll say this: the original Nutty Professor is actually pretty funny.
One with Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. There's one point where he goes to the gym to work out. He's like, "I'm gonna try and get my life together," but every single exercise he does wrong. And at one time, he's like, "I'm gonna get these weights," and he goes, "Whoa!" And they fall to the floor, and his arms are still attached. He's like, "Gee willikers."
Classic.
Anyway,
Well, I mean, I also
I'm Buddy Love.
I remember that movie being awesome because it was one of the only times Jerry Lewis actually got to be cool
Yeah,
for a little bit.
yeah. And he was. Buddy
looked
Love is
pretty
pretty
good.
cool.
Yeah.
He's part of the Rat Pack, was he?
No,
I think he hung out with them.
he did. Oh, he was friends with Dean Martin.
That's what it was. Yeah.
The one and only genuine original family band.
Is that a title?
Yes.
Oh,
The 1968 American musical. Oh, that's the problem. I'm going to get through a lot of musicals.
yep.
Yeah, of course.
Whoa.
It's Disney. It's
Movies for
Christian-
everyone.
It's Christianity without the God. The God is a mouse.
Yeah, it's true.
It's clean living and be good to one another and worship this.
Well, it's God in the same way
Enterprise.
Hulk Hogan was about
The
God.
Boatniks.
He's like, take your vitamins, eat your breakfast, and pray.
The Biscuit Eater.
If you slip that one in there, I don't think you mean it.
Yeah, a lot of these movies sound borderline offensive. The
Yeah.
Biscuit Eater, Run Cougar Run,
Well, I'm looking forward to your
Snowball
reports,
Express,
to your essays.
You
and-
might. This is going to take you a very long time.
One Little Indian.
And I also can't help but think that you'll never catch up with it based
Steep
off
to
the
Witch Mountain's
continued
banger.
release schedule that they have for Disney.
Yeah,
movies.
and I guarantee that not all of this trash is on Disney Plus. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. It's going to come down to me like buying $20 DVDs on Amazon, and then what am I going to do with that? Throw it in the trash.
watch them, resell them, donate them to your local library so other people can not watch them.
I think even if you
Can
do
you donate movies to
10%
the
of that,
library?
you
Yes.
will have achieved the same goal as doing.
It's going to be so much work just to get to Tron, but I'll do it.
I mean,
I was going to say the work continues through Tron. Watching Tron is part of the work.
yeah. And Tron was a failure. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And continues to be a failure.
Except they're still making it.
Not in Shanghai.
Well, they're also making the roller coaster.
Yeah, they're
in,
bringing that to Disney World.
Yeah.
I found out. So we went on a trip to Disney World a couple weeks ago, and because of the way GPS and search engine tracking they know that you went to a place, and then it starts thinking you must care about this,
Yeah.
and so it started feeding me a ton of news stories about it. And I found out that I guess within Disney properties there is a licensing to other theme parks. So within Disney. So Shanghai, for example, has Tron. They license that out with an exclusivity. That's why they don't have a Tron anywhere else.
Oh.
So it depends on it, but like Tron had to exist in this park for 5 years before any other Disney park was allowed to build it. They like have these weird contractual things. So, there's a lot of discussion about what are they going to do for Wild Animal Kingdom in Disneyland, because no one is going to the rest of the park. Everyone's going to Pandora and that's it. So how do they get people? And they were like pitching a bunch of different things. But they're working on a Zootopia section in one of the Asian parks. And it's like, oh, that'd be perfect. It's animal related, but it's still like very broad, except that they have to wait until it's done, which I don't think is going to happen until 2020. And then it has like a 5 or 6 year exclusivity. So even if they want to do that, they wouldn't be able to build it in any domestic parks until like 2026.
We're going to get Wakanda. I guarantee you.
Yeah, when you're walking around that place, you're like, "Oh, well, this is gonna be Wakanda."
We went to Dino Land USA, and it's like Pandora, pretty packed. Other parts, pretty packed. Like a lot of different places. Like we waited in a couple like hour-long lines and stuff like that, where it's like to get on like Nepal's river rapid stuff. We go to Dino Land USA, like you could hear a dime drop. You're just like, it's a ghost town. People are like, hello, would you like to go on the dinosaur ride? We're like, how long's the line? No line.
Yeah.
Please. And it's just, James just be like, gonna miss you.
Yeah, you can see how it will literally be redressed a la Twilight Zone to become a Marvel property.
Yeah. So
As long as the Rainforest Cafe is still in business.
It's a booming.
it's there.
Thank God.
You don't even need a ticket to the park to
No,
go
you
to
don't.
Rainforest Cafe.
That's the best part about it. It's the best part of the whole park, and you don't even have to buy a ticket to get there. It's just right out in front.
That's what we're gonna say. It's the best part. I need some sort of gorilla yelling at me every 5 minutes.
Over your like.
What are your
really crappy
specials today?
$20 salad.
And then the thunderstorm
He's
hits.
like, hold on. The strawberry lemonade is the summer beverage.
I was talking to. Well, we didn't go to the Margaritaville, but there was the Margaritaville there. But I was talking to Aaron about it, and he was saying that they play Margaritaville, I think, once every 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, so you know where you are.
Well, the idea is that you visit, and you're like, well, I want to hear Margaritaville, and then they play the 3 other Jimmy Buffett songs. But working, he talked to someone
Blow your
who.
brains out. Yeah.
Well, he talked to someone who worked there, and like, so how many times do you hear the song? Like, at least 100 times a day. Like, it's just. And then there's always the people who came in for dinner or lunch or a drink, whatever. They're for half an hour, like, yeah, Margaritaville. They never hear it again. They leave. They go home. But then the poor guy.
What about those of us that are sitting there for 5 hours because that's where we like? That's basically our library.
Feels good to me.
I still have never been inside of
Feels like going
Margaritaville.
home. Really?
No.
Oh,
I've
man.
always walked by it, and no one looks happy there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not true.
It's the best place to get day drunk.
That's not true.
It really fits the vibe.
Everyone's happy at Margaritaville.
Have you been to one?
Yeah, Vegas. Vegas one's good.
That's
I
the
haven't
one-
eaten there, but I've been through it because they had air conditioning.
I got a chip stuck in my throat at a Margaritaville. Dreams come true.
It's a cheeseburger in paradise, which is probably on the menu.
It has to be. What else? Anyway, we can stop talking.
Yes.
Sorry.
It has to be.
We've kind of hit our runtime. So, we bid all of you a cheeseburger in paradise this coming week. Waste away with us in Margaritaville. We just talk about old shit on this podcast now. I got to keep it current, you know.
But what's old is new again.
That's true.
So if we talk about Barefoot Executive, it's only because it's in the news.
Yeah, when are they going to remake that? Get Kurt Russell back. He can train a new barefoot executive.
He's just in a movie this year.
Where'd he go?
Nowhere.
Everyone's asking, where's
As long
Kurt
as-
Russell?
As long as Tarantino's breathing, he's gonna be working.
God bless.
fine.
Is Kurt Russell the only one who probably thematically has covered the broadest range in terms of the films he's in? Because he's been in the cleanest
An
stuff
action star.
and the roughest stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Sacha-
you'd have to
Sacha
compare
Baron
it to
Cohen?
basically anyone else who has also had like a 6-decade career or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
What about what's his name? Paul Rubens? So he was like child-facing family content, also in Blow, Jack
Yeah.
Off. You know?
Yeah.
Trying to think about the
Rain.
Amy Adams.
Oh
Is
yeah.
going,
Okay.
Yeah.
She's in some
Ella Enchanted.
Yeah.
nocturnal animals.
Yeah.
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 Muppets.
And to the Paul Rubens thing, yes, he was masturbating publicly in a porno theater.
what else are you gonna do?
I don't know.
So
never
with Fred
understood.
Willard, you know?
Yeah.
They were together.
It
Best
was a
friends.
sting. They were trying to take down
Hashtag
Pee
let
Wee.
them jerk.
Yeah, let them jerk. That's the Dude Soup challenge this week for you to work on
No, it
yourself
isn't.
and let them jerk.
It's not.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Today's word is jack off. I went home this weekend, and my mom she's getting ready to retire, and she's moving out of the house. And I went to the closet where she kept a lot of VHSs that we grew up with, and thankfully she still had my Pinky in the Brain, Pinky in the Brain Christmas.
Pinky in the Brain Christmas.
I believe it's only 30 minutes long, maybe.
Do you think the